I'm just kidding. This is empty. But it's kind of cool, though, isn't it? What's going on, everyone? And welcome back to Pod Planet Entertainment. My name is Chris, and I on our review minutes, and I rank on a scale of 0 to 100, and income is 5. Alright, awesome. So, welcome back. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we did our 100 subscriber live stream, and again, thank you to everyone who has subscribed over the years. Really means a lot, but we are back now with another Halloween special with Halloween Ends. I have several reviews I want to do before the 1st of November for Halloween, so I was going to do this last night, but it was storming, so I couldn't, because it makes too much noise. But Halloween Ends. It is here. Came out last week. I saw it opening day, and I gotta say, it was not very good. And I think the feeling with other audiences is mutual. This was not a good movie. I did not enjoy it. Let's talk about Halloween. Okay. Halloween. Classic. One of the best movies ever made. Not perfect. Got a few problems, but it's amazing. Halloween 2018. It's alright. It's enjoyable. It's solid, I feel like. You know, solid 7. Halloween Kills. What a very poorly written film, but it got the formula right. Michael kills people. I mean, they got that right. They nailed that part, actually. Michael Myers was the star of the film. And even though it is a very terribly written film, I still kind of enjoy it, because at least it's entertaining. But now we have Halloween Ends. And Halloween Ends is a continuing trend in Hollywood bringing back old franchises and ruining them. Star Wars. We had The Force Awakens. It was pretty good. Last Jedi. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not great. Rise of Skywalker. Pretty bad. Jurassic World. Not great, but really fun. I really enjoy it. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Pretty poorly written film, but it has its moments. Jurassic World Dominion. Not very good. And now we are here with Halloween. And they've done the same freaking thing. I want to explain to you a concept that might be hard for you to understand. But see, this is big brain time. And Chris has big brain. So Chris understands this. You may not. Especially if you're a studio executive. This, you probably won't get at all. But if you hire bad writers, they will write bad movies. Who would have thought? I know. Settle down. It might take you a minute to wrap your head around that one. But just let it sink in. Sure you'll get it. Yeah, I don't understand why that is such a foreign concept to these studio executives. I did not have an issue with the directing of this film. I didn't have an issue with the directing of these two films. It's the writing. It sucks. There was nothing wrong with the directing in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. There was nothing wrong with the directing in the Jurassic Park sequel trilogy. It's the writing. Stop hiring these crappy writers to write these big movies that everyone's excited for. I don't understand. What are they thinking? Halloween Ends, man. Hopefully it's actually over. Alright. Let's get into the pros and cons. Halloween Ends stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Rohan Campbell, Andy Matichak, and James Jude Courtney, barely. And it was directed by David Gordon Green. And this movie, by the way, I should probably mention this. I have a lot about this movie I want to talk about. So this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, go away. And then come back to your boy. But I just have a lot I need to say here. A lot. And I can't do it without spoiling the film. So we're going to spoil it. Alright, so the plot of this one. And by the way, the plot is a spoiler, kind of. Because, no, it kind of is. Because they kept the plot for this movie under wraps. I had no idea what this movie was about going into it. Nobody did. Because they kept it under wraps. So I'm about to tell you the plot of the film. So there's your spoiler warning. Alright. In this movie, Jamie Lee Curtis has finally moved on. It's 4 years later. She's like, you know what? Michael disappeared. I'm not going to let him control my life anymore. I'm going to go live my life. So she and her granddaughter get a house together. They live together. And they're happy. And then... and this guy, played by Rohan Campbell. I already forget his character's name. You know why I forgot his character's name? Because I don't really care what it was. He accidentally kills a child while he's babysitting him on Halloween night in 2019. So a year after the events of Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. By the way, isn't it such a shame I have to call it Halloween 2018? Whatever. You know, we have to do that with Scream now. Or we just call it Scream 6. Anyways. Alright. Or Scream 5. Yeah, Scream 5. Anyways. Alright, so he accidentally kills this kid, and now the granddaughter's into him, and then he finds Michael Myers, and Michael Myers sort of takes him in under his wing as an apprentice. That is the plot of this film. Now, I want to... you know, let's just jump into my pros and cons. Alright. So the things I liked about this movie, Easter eggs. This movie has some good Easter eggs. There was one shot of Rohan Campbell when he's riding his bike, like in like what do you call those things where Terminator 2, he was driving the motorcycle with John Connor and Robert Patrick's coming up behind him with a semi-truck, where they had the race in Greece, whatever those are called. I think he was in one of those, and you can see spray painted on the wall, it said, "Love lives today." Which is clearly a direct reference to Evil Dies Tonight. So I thought that was clever. So it has a few things like that that you could tell they thought about. I was like, I like that. The performances are really good. Everybody in this movie does a really, really good job. Like, you could tell they want to be here. They are giving it their all. And they're doing a fantastic job. The final fight between Michael Myers and Laurie was great. I really liked it. It was satisfying. I didn't like Michael's death, and I'll talk more about that. But the fight itself was really good. And I really enjoyed that. It was a thing that we had been waiting for. It was a thing they kept hyping up. And they delivered on it. So, it wasn't like the crappy fight in Batman vs. Superman where it was just Batman beating the crap out of Superman for 5 minutes. It wasn't like that. This was an actual good fight. And I enjoyed it. I also, and this might be controversial, I like the apprenticeship aspect. I thought that was an interesting direction. That Michael takes someone under his wing and shows them the ways. I really like that, actually. So, you may not. That's okay. But I was into that. And the kills are really good. And I think that'll about do it. And I was kind of into the romance. I was. It went on for too long, but I was kind of into it. Alright, so for one thing, let's get into the cons. So for one thing, the writing, it sucks. It's bad. These writers are terrible. They suck. They're bad. They're bad at their jobs. Stop hiring them. They're bad at their jobs. Yeah, the writing. That's what tanked this movie. It's the writing. So, at the end of Halloween Kills, they hype up Like, Michael is this unstoppable force of supernatural evil, right? He gets beat up and shot and falls off buildings throughout the years, and then finally at the end of Halloween Ends, he gets up and he slaughters all these people, and you're just like, oh my gosh, he's not human. And it ends with that note, and you're like, okay, all right, let's see where this goes. And then in this movie, he's decrepit and can hardly do anything. So, yeah, it's A+ writing for you, huh? All right. Gosh, I got a long list here. All right. I don't really buy that people would be mad at Laurie for Michael Myers. There are several people in this movie that are mad at Laurie for things that Michael Myers did in the past. What sense that makes, I don't know. Michael Myers' death doesn't make any sense either. Like I said, he has been beat up, he has been shot, he has been stabbed, he has fallen off of buildings. But he dies because she cut his throat and she cut his wrist. That's what kills him. He can take all of that, and he can be a really old man and still be super strong. And he is super strong in this movie too. That strength didn't go away. It did. I mean, he's still like he's still strong. He's just decrepit. But he can go through all that. But if you stab him in the throat, or if you cut his throat and you cut his wrist, then he'll die. He'll bleed out and die. Really? 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 Okay. So, at the end of the movie, by the way, I'm talking about this movie completely out of order, and you know what? I don't give a crap either. Okay, so at the end of the movie, they take his body and they put it in this incinerator at a construction site, and they completely destroy his body. And so that's how you know he is actually dead this time. Okay, cool. I like the idea of him getting cut up in the incinerator. But I instantly thought, this would have been so much better if the ending of this movie had taken place at this construction site. Picture this. Picture this. You have Laurie and Michael on some high thingy-majig, some platform, some walkway, whatever. And they're up there fighting. Okay. Now, what the frick? Rohan Campbell, right? So he's Michael Myers' apprentice. Okay. Imagine him there with the granddaughter. And they're fighting. Right? And somehow she kills Rohan Campbell. Somehow. Some cool way. Okay. And then Laurie knocks Michael off this platform into the incinerator, and the granddaughter pulls a switch. Michael gets cut up alive. How much better would that have been versus what we got? That would have been pretty darn great. See, I'm a better writer. This movie feels more like a romance drama. It does. I was kind of into the romance, but it goes on for way too long, and it's way too drawn out. It takes up 90% of this movie. This movie is a I was about to say rom-com. It's a romance drama. I don't care. I did, but not enough for a whole movie to be about it. Like, jeez. There's also not enough Michael Myers in this movie. He takes a serious backseat in this film. They sideline Laurie in the first one. They sideline Laurie in the second one. And then they actually kind of sideline her in this one. She takes a back. She's here a lot more than she was in these two movies. Especially Halloween Kills, where she didn't do squat in that movie. You know, she's here and she's the main character, but she shares the spotlight with Rohan Campbell. And she shouldn't have. This should have been her story. You know, not his. Like, I don't mind him being a supporting character and a part of the story and him having that romance, because I was kind of into that into that romance. Like, I was like, you know, they're finding something in each other. And I was kind of, you know, I was into that. But that was the whole movie. Like, come on. There's also not very many kills in it. There are some, but there's not as many as I would have liked by Michael. It doesn't explore Michael being magical and or mythical very well. It just sort of hints at stuff, and you leave like, okay, so is he magic or what? They pretty much confirm that in the last one, but then they don't really do anything with it in this one. I mean, they kind of do a little bit. It's there-ish. It's also extremely predictable. Oh my gosh. I knew like everything that was going to happen in this movie. It really should have been about a cat and mouse game. Like I said, this should have been Laurie's movie. And this really should have been a cat and mouse game between Michael and Laurie. This movie should have been about the two people on the poster, where you can see they're advertising a showdown. And that's what this movie should have been. This should have been Laurie and Michael hunting each other until finally they get together and they duke it out for the last time. That's what this movie should have been. So there's also this scene in the movie where Laurie is in the house where Rohan Campbell accidentally killed this kid. And he's sleeping on the same spot where this kid dies because he's getting sick and demented and twisted and evil and all that. Because this movie has a message of like society makes evil. I don't care. Like they did that in the last one. Stop. So she's sitting in this chair and they're having this conversation, right? So at some point he moves over to the staircase and he talks. And he's sort of looking this way while he's talking to her, right? Just sort of like looking away a little bit. You know, like when you talk to someone, you don't make direct eye contact? That's what he was doing. And then he looks back over like 2 inches where like he could clearly see where she still is. She has disappeared and she has gone out a window in another room. It's even more stupid than Harry disappearing in Spider-Man 3. It's cartoony. Nobody can do that. No one can do that. What was even the purpose in her doing it to begin with? What was it supposed to accomplish? I can't get my head around how bad this writing is. Okay. So Laurie shoots Corey dressed up like Michael Myers, right? She pretends to blow her brains out. And there's pumpkins in the room where she is. And you see the stuff splatter on the wall. And like I said, this movie's super predictable. Because I was like, that's just the guts from the pumpkin. And sure enough, that's what it was. So anyway, she shoots him. He goes downstairs. He takes a knife. He stabs himself in the throat. To do this to frame Laurie. Right? Okay. So, she takes the knife out of his throat and then holds it and lingers over his body like an idiot, right? And then the granddaughter walks in. She sees her holding the knife. She sees him laying there bloody dead. She's like, oh my God, can't believe you did this. I hate you. You know, whatever, right? But she doesn't notice Allison. That's her name. Corey. Okay. I have their names because I wrote them down in the notes. All right, word. Okay, so the boyfriend's name is Corey. The granddaughter's name is Allison. So Allison doesn't notice that Corey is dressed like Michael Myers. And when she leaves, she doesn't call the cops. She just leaves. Like, you just walked in on what you think is a straight-up murder, and you're just going to leave and think. She is the last person I would want around if I was murdered. All right. Let's see. Okay, so I want to talk about this one because this is something that I've noticed a lot of people have been pointing out. The ending of this movie could have been the ending of the 2018 Halloween. And if you think about it, yeah, she fights Michael Myers, she traps him in the basement, it goes up in flames. That really could have been the end of it. But they stretched it out for 2 more movies with nothing. There was no point in the last 2 movies at all. Because it doesn't build to anything other than Laurie fighting Michael, but she already did that. Like, so what was the point of the last 2 movies? Like, it doesn't build up to anything where it makes the movies feel warranted. I guess it's bad writing. And I'm curious as to whether or not they had a roadmap for this. Like how J.J. Abrams admitted with Star Wars, they didn't have any idea what they were going to do. They had no idea what they were going to do. They did each movie one at a time, and that's why that series sucked. And I'm curious if that's what they did here. Was this always the plan? Was this the roadmap they had laid out? Who knows? Let's see. Okay, so Michael's dead now, right? So Laurie's driving with a dead body on top of her car. As if that's not going to scar some people for life. She drives around with a dead body on top of her car, and somehow everyone sees this. And everyone makes a procession. And then everyone's there when they destroy his body. Like, you're driving around in the dark at night. How did this happen? And she didn't even need to do that. She could have just destroyed the body and then hung up the mask somewhere where people could see it. This wasn't necessary. And overall, it's very forgettable. Halloween Ends is not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not. But, man, is it irritating. I can't believe I was so excited and I waited all this time for this. It's because they didn't hire good writers. Bad writers are ruining the pop culture that we love. Stop it. For the love of God. Like, it makes me so worried for Indiana Jones 5. I'm terrified for that movie now. Because they ruined everything else. Why should I believe that they won't ruin this? I'm going to give Halloween Ends a 50. And honestly, that is being generous. Because I'm honestly thinking about going down to a 45 or a 40. I'm really considering it. Okay, but I feel like I've only seen the movie once. I feel like if I'm going to do that, I need to watch it again. But I don't really feel like going back to watch it again. But I feel like I want to go lower on my rating. I really do feel that way, but I'm not confident enough to do it. Because I've only seen the movie once. So, it is what it is, man. Another great IP ruined by crappy writers. Great job, Hollywood. You suck. I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Prime Player Entertainment for more. Hit the like button. Leave me reviews, suggestions down in the comments down below. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Player Entertainment for channel updates and bonus content. Happy Halloween and much love. But not this happy Halloween, okay? This is not a happy Halloween. This is a bad Halloween. It's a bad Halloween. Okay? Alright, I'm gonna go.